Wait, stop scrolling. If you are a veteran waiting on your VA disability rating or even thinking about filing, you need to hear this right now. The rules are changing constantly. We're talking about shifts in presumptive conditions, new evidentiary standards, and procedural tweaks that can fundamentally collapse or skyrocket your claim. What worked last year might get you denied tomorrow, and what is currently allowed might be shut down next month. This system is designed to be complex, and most veterans give up because they don't know the secret pathways, the overlooked rules, the critical strategies that can turn a 30% rating into 100%. We're not talking about anything illegal here. We're talking about leveraging the VA's own regulations against their tendency toward denial. Today, we are unlocking 15 absolutely critical VA claim strategies, 15 loopholes you must master immediately, before the VA changes the game again. This is the difference between struggling and securing the future you earned. The very first strategy, the foundational piece of protection, is understanding the monumental power of the PI. Intent to file. ITF date. Most veterans think their claim starts when they hit submit on the application, but that's a costly mistake. The ITF is your financial time machine. Think of it as staking your claim on a piece of land. It immediately locks in your effective date. Once you submit that simple form, you have secured the date the VA will use for back pay, regardless of how long the claim actually takes to process. You have a full 365 days from that ITF date to gather all your evidence, secure your doctor's appointments, and build your case without the clock ticking against your potential compensation. If you wait until all your documents are ready to file the ITF, you are potentially leaving thousands, tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in back pay on the table. The rule is simple. File the ITF today, even if you have zero paperwork ready, and then start working on your claim. This is the single easiest way to maximize your effective date and ensure that every month the VA spends dragging its feet is a month you get paid for retroactively. Never forget this. The ITF is the first and most crucial step in any successful claim strategy, offering a critical 12-month buffer to perfect your documentation. Moving quickly to the second essential strategy, we must talk about leveraging nexus letters from non-VA doctors. The VA's own compensation and pension (C&P) examiners are often overworked, underinformed about your specific history, or sometimes, frankly, biased toward minimizing the connection between your service and your current disability. Relying solely on a VA C&P exam is a recipe for a low rating or outright denial. The loophole here is counterintuitive. Use the private sector to build your VA claim. A well-written nexus letter from a private, unbiased physician who has reviewed your entire service record, medical history, and current symptoms carries immense weight. The key is the language. The doctor must state that your condition is, at least as likely as not, due to your military service or the service-connected condition. They must articulate the medical rationale clearly, citing relevant medical literature. A strong, detailed private nexus letter can often override a weak or negative VA C&P exam, forcing the VA rater to reconcile the conflicting medical opinions, which often benefits the veteran. If you are serious about winning, invest in a strong private medical opinion that speaks the VA's language. Our third strategy is the Opito magic of secondary conditions, which is often the backdoor to 100% disability. Many veterans focus only on the direct injuries they sustained in service, the bad back, the bum knee. But the VA system allows you to claim conditions that result in trauma from a service-connected disability. This is the domino effect, and it's where massive ratings are often achieved. For example, your service-connected knee injury causes you to walk differently, leading to chronic hip and back pain. That hip and back pain is now a secondary service-connected condition. Or perhaps your service-connected PTSD leads to chronic insomnia, weight gain, or reliance on medications, which then causes GERD, irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, or even sleep apnea. These secondary conditions are often rated high and, when combined, push you over the threshold. You must meticulously track every symptom and condition that arose. After your initial service-connected rating was established, and explicitly file them as secondary claims. This strategy requires connecting the dots logically. If Condition A is service-connected and Condition B is a medical consequence of A, then Condition B must also be compensated. Don't leave these secondary effects unrated. They are crucial components of your overall health and compensation. Next, we unlock the power of MAO, buddy statements, and lay evidence. The VA system is heavily reliant on medical records, but often the most crucial evidence of an injury or event is non-medical. This is especially true for mental health claims, traumatic events, or injuries that were treated in the field but never made it into your official service treatment records, STRs. Lay evidence or sworn testimony from you and those who served with you, buddy statements, fills these evidentiary gaps. A buddy statement needs to be detailed, specific, and credible. It shouldn't just say, "John hurt his back in Iraq." It must say, "In July 2005, while deployed to FOB Anaconda, I personally witnessed Sergeant Smith fall from the turret of a Humvee during a sudden stop, and he immediately complained of severe lower back pain and was unable to lift heavy equipment for the next 3 weeks." Specific dates, locations, and witnessed immediate effects are what the VA looks for. Likewise, your personal statement, your lay evidence, must be a detailed narrative of the event, the symptoms, and how the condition impacts your daily life, using precise language that connects the dots between service and current impairment. This human element often provides the missing link that medical records cannot supply. Strategy number 5 focuses on the critical 1-year presumptive window. Following separation. This is a massive, time-sensitive loophole that veterans often miss. For certain chronic conditions, like arthritis, heart disease, or psychosis, if they manifest to a degree of 10% or more within 1 year of separation from service, they are presumed to be service-connected, even if you didn't document them perfectly while you were still in uniform. This window bypasses the need for a complex nexus letter, simplifying the proof process immensely. This means that if you notice the onset of a potentially chronic condition shortly after getting out, you must file the claim immediately before that 1-year mark expires. Missing this deadline means you revert back to the much harder standard of proving direct causation, which requires extensive medical evidence. This is a hard deadline that the VA strictly enforces, so understanding what conditions fall under this presumptive umbrella and monitoring your health closely during that first year is absolutely non-negotiable for maximizing your benefit access. The 6th strategy is the crucial knowledge of DIU, Total Disability Individual Unemployability. This is the pathway to 100% compensation without needing a 100% scheduler rating. Many veterans are rated below 100%, perhaps at 70% or 80%, but their service-connected disabilities prevent them from maintaining substantially gainful employment. TDIU recognizes that the combined effects of your disabilities, even if they don't hit the 100% rating threshold, render you unable to work. The requirements are generally met if you have one disability rated at 60% or more, or multiple disabilities with a combined rating of 70% or more, provided one of those conditions is rated at 40% or more. This is a lifeline for veterans whose physical or mental health impairments stemming directly from their service have made their civilian job prospects impossible. Filing for TDIU requires detailed documentation of your employment history, attempts to work, and the specific limitations imposed by your service-connected conditions. Do not let a sub-100% rating convince you that you cannot receive 100% compensation. TDIU is the regulation that proves otherwise. Our seventh key strategy tackles one of the hardest claims to win: proving the stressful event marker for PTSD. For combat veterans, the stressor is often presumed based on combat action. However, for non-combat veterans or those whose stressors were related to military sexual trauma, MST, or administrative duties, proving the stressor is the single biggest roadblock. The loophole here is knowing what documentation the VA accepts, charmide in lieu of combat records. This can include statements from commanding officers, police reports, investigative reports like Article 15s or court-martial records, or even documented changes in duty status or performance reviews immediately following the event. For MST claims, the VA looks for markers like requests for transfer, substance abuse issues, or sudden performance drops, even if the assault itself was never formally reported. You must meticulously gather all ancillary evidence, not just direct proof, that corroborates the occurrence of the stressful event and its immediate impact on your behavior or environment. If you cannot prove the stressor, you cannot win the PTSD claim, so focus on collecting every piece of circumstantial evidence you can find. Strategy number 8 is the Chaos Q, clear and unmistakable error, filing. Chatti. This is the nuclear option for claims that were denied years or even decades ago, and it carries the potential for massive back pay. A Q claim is not a simple disagreement with an old decision. It is a claim that the VA made a factual or legal error in the original decision based on the evidence and rules that existed at that time. This is a high bar requiring expert knowledge of historical VA regulations. For example, if the VA denied your claim in 1995 but failed to apply a regulation that was in effect in 1995, which would have granted service connection, that is a CUE. If successful, the effective date of your claim reverts back to the original filing date, potentially resulting in huge lump sum payments. Because of the complexity and the high evidentiary standard, most veterans need specialized legal help to file a successful CU, but for those who have old, seemingly closed denials, this strategy offers a rare opportunity to reopen the past and correct a profound injustice. We now turn to Strategy 9, a critical calculation hack: maximizing bilateral factor ratings. This is a simple mathematical rule the VA often overlooks or misapplies, costing veterans significant percentage points. The bilateral factor applies when a veteran has disabilities affecting both sides of the body, for instance, both knees, both shoulders, or both feet. Instead of simply combining the ratings for the two limbs, the VA is required to add an extra 10% to the combined rating of those bilateral conditions. For example, if you have a 20% rating for your left knee and a 20% rating for your right knee, the combined rating is not 40% due to VA math. But once the bilateral factor is applied, the final effective rating is significantly higher. You must scrutinize your rating decision to ensure the VA explicitly applied the bilateral factor calculation whenever two paired extremities are rated. This small 10% boost can be the difference between crossing a critical rating threshold, such as 90% to 100%, and it's a rule that veterans must proactively enforce. Strategy number 10 addresses one of the most common and fastest-growing claims: claiming sleep apnea secondary to other conditions. Direct service connection for sleep apnea is notoriously difficult unless you were diagnosed in service. However, it is highly successful when claimed secondarily. The most effective route is connecting sleep apnea to service-connected PTSD or orthopedic conditions. Why? PTSD often requires medications that cause weight gain, or the stress itself leads to weight gain, and obesity is a primary risk factor for obstructive sleep apnea. Similarly, severe orthopedic conditions, like bad backs or knees, can prevent the necessary exercise to maintain a healthy weight. The critical evidence here is the nexus letter from a doctor linking the service-connected primary condition, e.g. PTSD, to the intervening condition, e.g. weight gain or medication side effects, and finally to the resulting sleep apnea diagnosis. This strategy avoids the high hurdle of proving direct causation and leverages the known medical links between mental health and physical health complications. Our 11th strategy is mastering the modern early appeal strategy, specifically utilizing the higher-level review, HLR lane. Since the modernization of the appeals process, veterans have 3 lanes for challenging a denial or low rating: supplemental claim, HLR, or Board of Veterans Appeals, BVA. The HLR is often the fastest and most efficient loophole. When you file an HLR, you're asking a senior VA rater to look at the exact same evidence that was already in your file and determine if the previous rater made an error. No new evidence is allowed, making it a quick review. This is incredibly effective when you believe the VA simply overlooked a key piece of evidence, misapplied a regulation, or failed to correctly calculate your rating. Critically, the HLR process includes the option for an informal conference with the senior reviewer, allowing you or your representative to verbally point out exactly where the original decision went wrong. This ability to directly communicate with the decision-maker is invaluable and often leads to a quick reversal without the years-long wait of a BVA appeal. Strategy number 12 involves the nuance of the power of aggravation versus direct service connection. Not every condition needs to have originated in service to be compensable. If you entered the military with a pre-existing condition, perhaps mild asthma or a minor back issue, but your military service, training, deployment, workload permanently worsened or aggravated that condition beyond its natural progression, the VA must compensate you for the degree of that worsening. This is a huge loophole for pre-existing conditions. The key is proving the baseline severity of the condition upon entry and then demonstrating the degree of permanent aggravation caused by service. This requires a strong medical opinion that explicitly quantifies the percentage or degree to which the service environment worsened the condition. If the VA denies a direct connection because the condition existed pre-service, immediately pivot to filing for service connection based on aggravation, forcing the VA to analyze the differential impact of your military duties. Our 13th strategy is highly specific but potentially life-changing for a certain group. Utilizing the Nemmer Rule, historical claims. This rule primarily benefits Vietnam veterans, their survivors, and certain other veterans exposed to Agent Orange or other specific toxins. The Nemmer Rule dictates that when the VA adds a new condition to the presumptive list, like certain cancers or diseases linked to Agent Orange, the effective date for that claim must be retroactive to the date the claim was initially filed, even if it was initially denied, or back to the date the rule change was implemented. This often results in massive retroactive payments stretching back decades. If you or a surviving spouse had a claim denied years ago that is now considered presumptive under current rules, like hypertension or hypothyroidism recently added for certain veterans, you must ensure the VA is correctly applying the Nemmer Rule to secure the maximum possible back pay. This is a complex area, but the financial implications for those eligible are enormous, and it's a loophole that requires vigilant monitoring of presumptive list updates. The 14th essential strategy is the pursuit of OCMAR Special Monthly Compensation, SMC, which provides pay above the 100% disability rate. SMC is often overlooked because veterans assume 100% is the ceiling. SMC is designed to compensate veterans for specific, severe losses or impairments such as the loss of use of an extremity, being housebound, requiring aid and attendance from another person, or having specific combinations of severe disabilities. For example, a veteran rated 100% for PTSD who also has a severe orthopedic condition that makes them housebound might qualify for SMC, housebound, resulting in a higher monthly payment than standard 100%. If your disabilities are profound and significantly impact your ability to function independently, you must investigate the various SMC categories, SMCK, SMCS, SMCL, etc. This isn't just about a higher check, it's recognition of the most severe consequences of service and provides necessary financial support for specialized care and living assistance. Finally, our 15th critical strategy is the Fully Developed Claim, FDC, Speed Run. The VA offers two claim pathways, Standard and FDC. A standard claim relies on the VA to track down some of your records, their duty to assist. An FDC is when you submit everything, all medical records, nexus letters, buddy statements, and personal statements, at the time of filing, certifying that you have no more evidence to submit. The loophole here is speed, because the VA doesn't have to spend time requesting records from external sources or military. Archives, FDCs are prioritized and often processed significantly faster than standard claims. While this requires more upfront work and diligence on your part, the reduction in processing time can mean getting your decision in months rather than years. The risk is that if you miss a critical document, you may need to file a supplemental claim later. However, for veterans who have meticulously prepared their evidence using the previous 14 strategies, the FDC is the fastest path to securing their rating and their compensation. These 15 strategies are not abstract ideas. They are actionable rules and procedures within the VA system that, when properly utilized, dramatically increase your chances of securing the highest possible rating and maximizing your back pay. The VA system is constantly evolving, and regulatory changes can close these strategic windows without warning. Whether it's the shift in presumptive conditions, new evidentiary requirements for mental health claims, or tightening rules on nexus letter credibility, the time to act is now. Secure your effective date with an ITF today. Invest in a strong private nexus letter. Connect your secondary conditions, and always scrutinize the VA's final decision for errors like the missing bilateral factor or the misapplication of the Namer rule. Your benefits are earned, not given, and knowledge is the only true advantage you have in this complex system. Don't wait for the rules to change. Take control of your claim right now.